Hello and welcome to 𝐿𝐭𝐴 Serie A Matchday 33. What a week for Inter Milan in the semi-finals of the Champions League, suffering but ahead against Bayern Munich, and we have a key game against Bologna, against Napoli. Fans are expecting Inter to drop points on Easter Sunday. Leo Bachanian, hello.
Hello, Edu. Yes, this should be a good weekend, at least on paper, for Napoli fans and for Napoli players, because finally, after a couple of weeks, Napoli is playing before Inter, and they're playing away to Monza, so there is a chance, almost guaranteed, that before Inter goes on the road to visit Bologna, Napoli is going to be level on points with the Nerazzurro.
Well, it's quite odd because we have games on Easter Sunday. Usually in Italy, we don't have games. All the games are played on Saturday. But this is an exception. It's a strange year. I don't know, Leo, why Serie A did this season in a very religious country, as we know, as Italy. But we have games on Sunday, Pasqua, and Monday, Pasquetta, for the Italians. So stay with us. Let's analyze all the games now. And we start on Saturday. We have 3 games. Lecce Como is the first one. Very important for Lecce, still outside the relegation spots, 2 points above. But the run is very poor. It's only 1 point in the last 7 games, winless in 9. And Como are favorites, Leo, even if they are absolutely safe. But they keep winning and winning. They are in a very good streak, back-to-back wins against Torino and Monza.
Absolutely, Edu. Look, and we had even, now that before we were talking about Inter, and there was yesterday or last night Champions League football, where there was a Champions League moment in Torino Como Torino, because we had a Julian Alvarez moment deep on added time between Como and Torino, and with Como leading 1-0. A corner for Torino. Ivan Illich thought he had scored a late equalizer, but his goal was disallowed because Cristiano Biraghi accidentally touched the ball twice while taking the corner kick. No one noticed, but the VAR, but that was enough for the goal to be disallowed, and that was a huge sound of relief for Como. They are now 12 points above the relegation zone with 18 points so far to play for. It was a surprise not to see Nico Paz in the starting lineup, but apparently he couldn't train for most of the week, and he's doubt for the trip to Via del Mare. Again, the players doing the difference for Fabregas has been those who he brought in January: Maxence Kakeret, Jonathan Ikone, Asane Diao, and 𝗀𝗵𝐿𝐴, the Greek striker, were the best for Como. 𝗀𝗵𝐿𝐴 actually scoring 2 goals in 8 games since arriving from Celta for him. But the most important for Como is that they took 7 out of the last 9 points in play, and now this match with Lecce is not the 6-pointer we thought it could be a month ago, or at least for Como, because for Lecce it definitely is. As you said, no wins in the last 9, with 6 defeats in that run. In Turin, they were already down 1-0 after 2 minutes, and after half an hour they were 2-0 down. Yes, they managed to score with 3 minutes to play for, but to be honest, I never thought that Lecce was going to take anything from Juve. Away from home is 2 wins in the last 5 for Como, and Lecce at Via del Mare winless at home since the 15th of December. My take in this one, Edu: first half Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Como, odds of 2.2.
Let's see if Cesc Fabregas' team relax after getting and meeting the goals of the season, staying in Serie A. Next game is Monza-Napoli. As you said, finally Napoli playing ahead of Inter, and this is a must win. They should beat Monza, already in Serie B with 2 points in the last 12 games. But Leo, Napoli no wins in the last 5 trips.
Yes, that's true, but come on, Monza gives the opportunity to everyone to go back to winning ways, and I think it's a good one for them that finally they don't need to play with the pressure of knowing Inter result, and they somehow had the chance to pass it onto them. I know it was Empoli, but again, it was another test pass for Napoli. Starting the game 6 points behind the Inter. There was no parity last Monday at the Diego Armando Maradona. 𝐿𝐿𝐴 once again MVP. First time he scored a brace in Serie A. He has already improved the best ever season at Manchester United, and he has now moved also into double figures because in goal contributions, 8 goals and 4 assists for him. This said, I can imagine that 𝐿𝐴 must have said or showed something at halftime, because after going 1-0 up, Napoli lacked a bit of urgency, Edu. I think they got a little bit complacent, and Sebastiano Esposito had a chance to equalize also even before the break. And remember, Napoli lost 10 points from winning positions this season. So the message, I believe, at halftime was, please just go out and kill this game straight away. And that happened before the 60-minute mark. It was already 3-0. Lukaku, 12 goals this season, which is impressive, and not impressive, but it is more impressive that he gave 10 assists. So it's 12 goals and 10 assists for him, 22 goals involvement, which means he participated in 43% of the goals of Napoli this season. Napoli scores 51 goals, and Lukaku participated in 22 of them. The run of 3 wins and 3 draws in the last 6, but as you said, away from home is 5 without winning for Napoli. We have to insist with the fixtures left for Napoli: Monza, Torino, Lecce, Genoa, Parma, and Cagliari. I believe it's impossible for the Napoletana not to dream with the Scudetto. My take here: Napoli Asian handicap minus 1.5, odds of 1.92.
Must win this one for Napoli. Yeah. And also Saturday, Roma Verona. What a goal scored by 𝐿𝐴. No Dybala, Leo, but 𝐿𝐴 is getting in Dybala's shoes to get the equalizer in the derby. Also, Svilar was key with his saves. So 2 draws in the direct clash against Juve and Lazio. And this is the only easy game for Roma, Leo, because after this they have Inter, Fiorentina, Atalanta, and Milan. Wow.
Yes, it's difficult for them, this fight for Champions League places. With these last 2 draws, the unbeaten run for Roma continues, yes, but the hopes of the Champions League football have now a little bit diminished. 5 points behind Juventus. But the opportunity, Edu, nevertheless, and even though you mentioned how is it coming, the fixture for them after Verona, they are playing on Saturday, and if they win, which I believe should happen, they are the favorites here. Roma, especially playing at home, they're gonna finish Saturday in 5th place. I think I heard the perfect definition from Ranieri after the derby. He said it could have been better, it could have been worse. A simple but true message, because yes, Svilar was probably the MVP. We talk about him, one of the best goalkeepers of the season in Serie A. He saved Roma in the first half against Isaacsen, saving Roma in the second half against 𝐵𝗔𝗍𝗂. But Roma had 1 or 2 chances apart from that beautiful goal from 𝐿𝐴. He didn't have 𝐿𝐴, a derby that everything passed around him. He's not that player yet, not that demands the ball all the time. He's just 21 years old. But his confidence is growing since Paulo Dybala got injured and he started to play from the start. And now I think playing against Verona, playing at home, is another opportunity for 𝐿𝐴 to show all his qualities. Ranieri believes a lot in him. He keeps saying 𝐿𝐴 is the future of Roma. The only thing I would say about Ranieri and 𝐿𝐴 is that he keeps playing him on the wing, and on Sunday or in the derby, I mean, Roma was a bit slow in order to bring the ball to 𝐿𝐴 to play those 1v1s against the left back. And sometimes if the ball movement is a bit slow, 𝐿𝐴 at the end of the day, when he gets the ball, he's going to have 2 players on him. But still, good future for 𝐿𝐴, because until January he was not getting a lot of opportunities, and since then, and even more since Paulo Dybala got injured, the season got much better for him. My take here with Roma being, of course, the favorite. Roma halftime, full-time market, odds of 2.1.
Well, Roma only 2 points behind Lazio, but again, the schedule is very difficult. Then on Sunday, Easter Sunday, we have Empoli, Venezia. This is a relegation 6-pointer. Both are in the relegation spots. Both are only 2 points away from Lecce, so the winner can get out of the bottom three, although Leo, usually when we see this kind of games ended up in draw, but ahead of this game, Venezia comes more optimistic than Empoli.
Yes, and I don't know why. The odds keep underestimating Venezia. And lately it's been a very good pick in Venezia for in our shows. And I can remember the last time Venezia was not the second from bottom. They won last weekend against Monza. Empoli, I said, couldn't do anything with Napoli. And they both now have 24 points, but better goal difference for Venezia, who is for sure lighting a candle for 𝐿𝐭𝐵𝐺 to win against Lecce, because that would mean if they do the job away to Empoli, they will be out of the relegation zone. The win at home with Monza was the first one since December for Venezia, but they have just lost one of their last 7 match days. Difficult to expect many goals here for a variety of reasons, because 13 out of their last 14 games this season have been goals under 2.5 for Venezia. And within those 13 games, you will find Napoli, Atalanta, Bologna, Lazio, Inter, for instance. When you go to the head-to-head between Empoli and Venezia, 7 out of the last 8 encounters have also been goals under 2.5. For Empoli last weekend, we said 3-0 defeat with Napoli, but the 5 matches before that, they were all under 2.5, 0-0, 1-1, 1-0. My view is Venezia here being the favorites, and the odds are good. That's why my take is Venezia double chance plus goals under 2.5. These two together, odds of 2.62.
And on Sunday, we have a key game for the fight for the Scudetto, Bologna-Inter. I guess, again, Napoli fans are, of course, supporting Napoli, but also they see an opportunity here. Inter, after qualifying for the Champions League semi-finals with a suffered draw against Bayern Munich, the season is just excellent. Remember, they are still on the run for the treble, but they have a very busy schedule the following week. Leo, they are playing the second leg of the Coppa Italia semi-finals against Milan, and now they visit the Dallara with Bologna also fighting for the Champions League, and their amazing run was over after losing in Bergamo.
Yes, it's the game of the Easter weekend, this one, between Bologna and Inter. The chance for Bologna to resurrect after that defeat in Bergamo last weekend. Not just because of the result, but the performance was below the par for Bologna. In terms of what they were producing lately, the chance of Champions League football is still there, 2 points only behind Juventus. But it was a good opportunity for them, and they could not rise to the occasion. But we still need to put this campaign in context that it's just one defeat in the last 7 for Bologna. They are overperforming, I believe, this season. And we couldn't foreseen 3 months ago that we were going to talk about Bologna and the chances of playing Champions League football again next season. Santi Castro, Jens Odegaard, 2 important players for Vincenzo Italiano, not 100% physically, and that is something that for a small squad like Bologna is detrimental looking forward to the end of the season. This is a 13, 14, maximum 15-man squad. And when you look at those that can really make a difference for Bologna, and this Inter learned the lesson of what happened with Parma, I believe, because against Cagliari they started almost their best 11. Yes, Bastoni was on the bench, Thuram too, but Lautaro started the game and also scored. And even when the second leg of the Champions League against Bayern was looming, this time Inzaghi play most of his best players from the beginning. Of course, the mood now is over the moon after qualifying to that semi-finals of the Champions League, playing against Barcelona. Lautaro scoring last night as well. He has 12 goals this season in Serie A, still far from those 24 that he took last season, but picking up pace lately. Bologna managed a draw in San Siro, but at this moment of the season, for me, it's difficult, to be honest, to think of Inter not doing the job, despite their busy schedule, despite being alive in those three competitions. They will likely, we said, start the game with Bologna level on points with Napoli. On the road is 1 win and 3 draws in the last 5 for the Nerazzurro, but yes, rightly the favorites and the odds are good. My take, Edu, is 𝐻𝐿, Inter to win 2.38.
And after this, we have another great game, Milan-Atalanta. This Milan, very difficult to understand, are only 5 points away from Lazio, so still with some options to qualify for Europe after beating Udinese 4-0 on the road, and their schedule is not difficult after this game. Of course, with Atalanta beating Bologna after 3 consecutive defeats, also Retegui scoring, so good news for Gasperini's men. I was checking the last games, Leo, for Atalanta, last 9 games, both teams to score, no. Even if in our eyes, Gasperini is a very offensive manager and Atalanta is an entertaining team to watch.
Yes, but this one is one to break that, to be honest, because this should be an entertaining one, Edu. In San Siro and with Milan, usually that is what's happening. But it's true what you mentioned about Atalanta and that stat that, we always believe on those crazy games with Atalanta, but lately haven't been the case, either because they lost or because when they won, it haven't been for big margins or the opposition, or they managed to get a clean sheet. Milan arriving at the back of probably Edu best performance in a long time. After that 4-0 win away to Udinese, 4 different goal scorer, first clean sheet in the last 9 games. There was also a tactical switch change on Friday with 𝐜𝐭𝐚𝐲 moving from 4 to 3 at the back, something that we talked about a few shows ago. That could potentially provide a better platform for some players like Theo Hernandez, giving him more attacking responsibilities than defensive one, knowing that he sometimes has concentration issues. And he scored a great goal with a thunder of a shot. Another player to benefit from the system was Rafa Leao. He said after the game that having an extra central defender made him freer to attack, as he didn't have to be on guard, all the time, thinking that he needs to track back with the opposition fullback. And he also scored. He has 7 this season, and all of them have been on the road for Leao. He hasn't scored in San Siro. Even Pavlovic, the Serbian center back, also looked differently with one more partner at the back because he was allowed a little bit more time and freedom to carry the ball forward and had a good game. Is now 3 wins in the last 5, but in that run, 2 games that they not win Milan, they were against top 8 opposition, Fiorentina and Napoli, and Atalanta will arrive in San Siro with a sense of relief, having gone back to that winning ways, as you mentioned, against Bologna after 3 consecutive defeats. The side of Matteo scoring and assisting is also a relief. He has 23 this season. It was a win that consolidated Atalanta in that first spot, which could have been in trouble. There were some bad news for both teams last weekend. Maignan had a head injury after clashing with Alex Jimenez, so he won't play on Sunday as he needs to follow the protocols. And for Atalanta, Sid Kolasinac also got injured. The last 3 games at San Siro, all goals over 2.5, and also both seem to score. That's what I take here, Edu. I'm going for the goals market. Goals over 2.5, odds of 1.71.
Okay, Leo, and for Monday, Pasquetta in Italy, also holidays there. People go out and eat and go barbecuing. And in the meantime, we have 4 games. First one is at midday. Torino, Udinese, here nothing on stake. Both teams with 40 points, but Torino are better in the last games. Udinese seems gone. Leo, 4 consecutive defeats.
Yes, absolutely. The battle for 10th position is this Torino Udinese, first defeat in the last. With 𝐿𝐵𝐵 was the first defeat in the last 7 for Torino, and just the second defeat in the last 15 games. There was some late drama, as I explained before, with that disallowed goal. But otherwise, very little in attack for the Granata at the Lake. Che Adams and Antonio Sanabria were involved very little. The Paraguayan striker, he played 90 minutes, but he cannot score this season. The best we have seen from him has been with the national team. Only 2 goals this Serie A for Tony Sanabria. And the last time he scored that was in October. Udinese 5 without winning and 4 consecutive defeats, as you said. And with Milan, they were very, very poor last Friday. I'm becoming repetitive with this, but not playing for anything has killed some momentum for Udinese. The only positive is that, and actually a very important one, is that the supporters at least went to the stadium against Milan, determined not to allow anyone to repeat what happened to Maignan last season when he was racially abused. And this time, when he got injured and he had to leave the pitch, he was even applauded by all Udinese's fans. For Torino, 6 of their 13 draws have all been playing at home. So my take here, Edu, first half draw, not bad, 1.98.
Cagliari Fiorentina is the next one. Fiorentina playing conference against 𝐿𝐵𝐵,
Yep.
and in Serie A they drew with Parma, still fighting for the European spots, 3 points away from Lazio. Cagliari almost safe. Leo is 6 points away from relegation, but probably they need 4 points more to be absolutely safe.
Yes, Edu, and it's 4 defeats in the last 9 for Cagliari with 2 draws. But those defeats, it's always good to put them in context. Roma, Juventus, Bologna, and now Inter, and those 2 draws, one of those at least was against Atalanta, 6 points above Venezia. A point, at least, Edu, on Monday should be well received, absolutely, in Sardinia, especially on a match day where Venezia could cut the distance. Cagliari is a team that competes, but they may not be enough against La Viola, who knows that anything short of 3 points could mean no European football for them next season. Because let's remember, as much as Fiorentina is doing well in Conference League, the biggest candidate in that competition is Chelsea. You have also Betis there, so it's difficult for them through the Conference League, and they have a big chance to get to Europa League positions through Serie A. But it was a missed opportunity last weekend in this regard for Fiorentina. That goalless draw in Firenze with Parma. They push and push in the second half, but they failed to register a shot on target in the first 45 minutes. And it's also partly maybe the story of the season for them, racing their game against top 8 opposition, but failing to impose conditions against bottom half teams many times. When you look at the bottom 7 teams, they lost the last 2 times they faced one of those teams, Verona and Monza. In that first half, with Parma, maybe we saw a bit of footballing jet lag for La Viola after winning away that first leg of the Conference League quarter-final. David De Gea again was crucial for Fiorentina in that first half, saving against Bernabeu what could have been the 1-0 for Parma, and also again saving lately on the game against Boni. But it's in a way part of the inconsistency of Fiorentina in the last 2 months or so, winning away to Lazio, a European contender, then losing 3 in a row, later winning 3 out of 4 in the next 4, and now they're at the back of 2 consecutive draws. Milan and Parma, away from home, 3 defeats in the last 4. Playing at home, Fiorentina is the 3rd best team in Serie A, but on the road they are 9th. But it's a must win for them. On a given day, Fiorentina is could be a very good team and an attacking team. My take here, I trust in them. I go in that route. Fiorentina to win. Odds of 2.45, Edu.
Next game is Genoa Lazio. Lazio playing on Thursday as well, Europa League. They have a key game. They have to come back against 𝐵𝗲𝗀𝗀 in the Serie A. It's only 2 wins in the last 8 games, still in European spots. And Genoa, with nothing to play for, Leo, but it's kind of the opposite of Udinese. They are in great form, and especially at home, 5 wins and 1 draw in the last 6 home games in Marassi.
Yes, and to be honest, Genoa is one of those things when you look at the half bottom of the table that impressed me the most this season, of course, especially since Patrick Vieira took over. Baroni said that with 𝐵𝗲𝗀 on Thursday night, Lazio is playing their most important match of the season. In Serie A, they are 3 points behind Juventus, and they still have to face the 𝗵𝗵𝗄 at home on the 11th of May. And the weekend after, they're going to have to visit Inter. So a bit of crossroads for Lazio, facing a very, very difficult task of leaving 𝐵𝗲𝗀 behind and continue dreaming with the Europa League. And also knowing that the road through the Serie A is far from easy. And now they are visiting a tough place and a tough team, because Genoa, as I said, is one of the turnaround stories of the season. If Torino and Udinese finishes in a draw and Genoa wins, they will get that 10th place for the first time this season. At home, they won 5 and drew 1 of the last 6 and kept a clean sheet in 4 of those wins. And this Lazio is going to have the emotional drain of the derby, played last Sunday, playing Europa League again, and having to trade from behind. So that's why I think the odds on Genoa raise this time, and they always compete against top 8 opposition. As I said, that's what my take here, Edu. Genoa, first half Asian handicap plus 0.25, odds of 1.67.
Okay, Leo, and the last game is Parma Juventus. Juventus in the 4th spot with the new manager, with Tudor.
Yeah.
2 wins and 1 draw. Not brilliant, I would say, but still doing the job.
Yeah.
They don't have a difficult schedule, we must say. And Parma seems that they might stay 1 season more in Serie A, is 4 points above relegation, and now is the draw team, is 5 consecutive draws. It's only 1 win in the last 14 games, though.
Yes, and the last 2 were Inter and Fiorentina, which in a way is impressive. And I had the feeling that Parma probably will stay because others they're going to be doing worse than them. The good thing for Juventus, as much as it wasn't the best game against Lecce, or at least the second half, because the first half was quite all right, is that combined with Atalanta's win over Bologna, Juventus ended the weekend back in the top 4. Tudor wasn't happy with that second half against Lecce, and he cut the free day, or the day off the players had on Sunday, and he called everyone for training on Sunday, and he gave Monday off as was planned. Tudor has steadied the ship, 7 points out of a possible 9 after replacing Mota. We mentioned that Tudor's contract is until the end of the season, and that Juventus is looking actively for a manager, but many in Italy are reporting that there is an automatic extension clause in Tudor's contract that will be triggered if the team achieves Champions League qualification by the end of the season. Something very simple but effective that Tudor has done so far, playing players in the positions that suits them the most. So now you have 𝐜𝐨𝐧𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜, who has gone from the wing to a playmaker role. You have 𝐿𝐴, who said goodbye to the trequartista role that Mota used to use him. About 𝐜𝐨𝐧𝐧𝐽, what a dribbler, to be honest, the Turkish player is. His ball control at speed is just amazing. Parma created problems for Juventus in the reverse fixture, that 2-2 in Turin, running fast counter-attacks. But those kind of transitions, I think they seem a little bit better now, under more control under Tudor. My take here, anyway, I'm expecting goals. Edu, goals over 2.5 for this Parma Juventus, odds of 2.03.
Well, this is it for Easter weekend. Very special, of course, in Italy, and very special for football fans, of course, with Bologna Inter. Remember that you can post your tips in Oddspedia. We have our tipster competitions going on, and also rivals. Leo, your safe bet?
Napoli to win 1.29.
And the ACCA?
Napoli to win 2-0. Roma to win. Milan Atalanta goals over 2.5. These three together leaves me with an ACCA of 4.54.
Thank you, Leo Bachanian. See you next week.
Thank you, Edu.